Okay, contextualization. Oh, Jesus. Okay, contextualization. What is contextualization? Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a lesson on what constitutes contextualization. Let's look at this meme. All right. If you look at this meme, who looks like they're the bad person here? Right? Some people would say this guy. Look at him. He's being so disrespectful. Looking at that girl, probably whistling at her. Look at her face. She feels so disrespected, right? We have this situation. Well, let's look at the context. Let's look at the context. What is context? This is context. Everything that led up to this situation. These were the events and the big picture of their relationship. This is the big picture of the relationship. If you look at things long term, big picture, what led up to this event, you see that in reality, he's not the bad guy. She is. She is. So now he's looking at her like, man, maybe you don't want me. Maybe I want to look at someone else, right? That's context. The things that led up to whatever event you're going to do in your essay or your project or whatever it is that you're working on historically. So let's say I'm doing my project on television or the television and the impact that television had, say, for example, on um, communication, right? Now, if I want to say something more specific, like the impact that television had on the election between Kennedy and Nixon, that's a whole nother thing. But let's just say I want to focus on the invention of television and what impact it had, right? We got to talk about the concept was first invented like early in the 1900s, but the first actual television that could transmit an image was in the 1920s, right? Now, I'm not giving you specifics on it, but I'm kind of being broad. And television eventually improved and with each year, which each decade, right? So then a question becomes, well, when was the first television sold? The first television was sold in 1945, 46, right? Um, if it was invented somewhere around the 1920s, but didn't sell the first one until the 1940s, what happened in between? What's going on big picture wise in the world is World War II. The invention of television and its um, diffusion to everyone and being sold to everyone was interrupted by the war, right? So now that if I were doing a project on television, I would tell you about the beginnings of television, some of the earliest televisions, how that invention progressed, and then how it began to be sold to everyone, right? With and I have to include that it was interrupted by World War II because that's a pretty big worldwide event. And now I can start talking about its impact on society, and I can pick the impact on society for any event. I could just say the impact of the 50s, the impact on that election, or whatever. But now I've given you the context of how that invention came to be. That's contextualization. You have to give me all of the steps that led up to. Now, in class, I've told you that so if you're doing a project on the impact of the reservation system, then on any impact, you say, well, when did this begin? When did this invention begin? Where did it begin? Who invented it? Why did they invent it? Who, when, where, and why did we get to the event that I'm talking about, or to the invention that I'm talking about, or to my paper? The who, what, when, and where, why of how we got to what I'm writing about. I hope that kind of clears it up.